Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech, and in this video, I'll be doing the complete review of the Micromax in one. So here's the phone. I've already done the unboxing. There's a link for that in the description. So if you want to have a quick look at the unboxing experience and the initial impressions, you can check that out from the link below. Now Micromax has launched this phone in India in two variants. Base variant is priced at 10,000 rupees for 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. And the next variant is priced at 11,500 rupees for 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. It's available in two colors, blue and purple, and we have the purple color with us right now. Micromax has literally offered all the best things at a pretty aggressive pricing. Now the main highlights for this phone would be its cameras, display, and definitely its bigger battery with fast charging. So without any further delays, let me start off the review with the design and build. Now the design of this phone is pretty standard. On the back, this phone has a plastic back panel with a pretty cool pattern going on. It's pretty unique and it has its own very unique look. It fits pretty comfortably in the single hand. It has a thickness of 8.9 mm and weighs 195 grams. Yes, the phone feels slightly thicker and slightly on the bulkier side, but you are getting a 5000 mAh battery, so we really can't complain about the form factor. Besides the thickness and the overall weight of the phone, there are really no complaints with this phone. It is very well built and I really don't have any complaints. Now when it comes to the hardware department, this one comes with all the basic sensors, literally nothing's missing. You also get the fingerprint scanner on the back. Performance is pretty good, it's pretty reliable, pretty fast, and here's a quick preview. We also have the face unlock feature, but most of the time I did end up using the fingerprint scanner. Besides that, we also get dual SIM support on this phone along with a dedicated SD card slot. So even if you get the base variant, there's not going to be a problem with the storage. I've tested the auto brightness sensor as well, and that too works pretty well. This phone also has FM radio, just in case if you're really looking forward for that. So overall in the hardware department, nothing's missing, everything's working fine. Now when it comes to the display, this phone sports a 6.67-inch Full HD Plus display with a punch hole design, which actually makes the display look much more premium than most of the phones in this price segment. And as you can see, the bezels are also pretty sleek, giving it a very premium feel. The touch responsiveness and the sunlight legibility, colors and contrast are all up to the par. Most of the other brands usually offer you a HD Plus resolution at around a starting price of 10,000 rupees. But you're getting a Full HD Plus panel that's pretty great, and you also get a pretty modern looking display. So once again, no complaints over there, and a pretty big thumbs up for the Micromax. Now when it comes to the cameras, this phone sports a triple camera setup on the rear with a 48 megapixel primary camera, followed by a 2 megapixel camera for taking portrait shots and another 2 megapixel camera for taking macro shots. For selfies, it has an 8 megapixel camera with f2.0 aperture. You can check out my camera review for more information, but here's a quick preview of some of the sample shots from the rear camera. Colors have more contrast, they look a bit more saturated, but they do look pleasing. When it comes to the color reproduction and stuff, I guess it's all about personal preference. So if you're liking the pictures that you're seeing, that means you like the cameras. Besides that, dynamic range and exposure control are also pretty good. Now these are some portrait shots. Edge detection isn't perfect, but it's pretty much usable. There is a fluctuation when it comes to the colors and contrast, but overall, it does a pretty decent job. Now these are some selfies. Compared to the rear camera, color reproduction and skin tones are much more accurate with the selfies. There is a bit of software processing going on, but it's for the good. Even the portrait selfies look pretty good, pretty identical to the selfies, but with just the background blur effect. Now here's a sample footage from the rear camera. We can record video in 1080p resolution, but there's no electronic image stabilization. So if you can just hold on in a single place, then you can get a pretty decent footage. Besides the stabilization aspect, rest of the aspects like color reproduction, exposure control, and dynamic range are all pretty good. Even with the front camera, we can record video in 1080p resolution. Once again, there's no electronic image stabilization, but compared to the rear camera footage from the front camera is much more stable. So overall, cameras on this phone are pretty good and are definitely worth the price. Now when it comes to the software department, this phone is running Android 10 with March security patch, which is pretty latest, and the overall user interface is pretty similar to pure stock Android phone, just like any other Motorola phone or just like a Google phone. There's no bloatware or any unwanted advertisements and stuff. It's pretty clean, and the overall user interface has been pretty smooth. I have been using this phone for about a week as my primary phone, and so far I didn't find any software issues. Everything works and everything works as it should. Now when it comes to performance, this phone sports a MediaTek Helio G80 processor with Mali G52 GPU with 4GB of LPDDR4X RAM and 64GB of storage. These are the benchmark scores. Now purely in terms of performance, you can say this is one of the best phones in this price segment. If you're a normal user, performance offered by this phone is more than sufficient, and even if you're a gamer, it'll definitely satisfy you. Especially the processor in combination with that Full HD Plus resolution display will give you great visuals. Now when it comes to the audio department, audio experience over the headset is pretty average. There isn't anything special to talk about. As for the speaker loudness, it is pretty loud enough, good enough for media consumption, ringtones and alarms. At maximum volume, there is a bit of distortion, so I would suggest you to put it at somewhere around 80% to get the best audio experience. Now here's a quick audio sample. Now finally, when it comes to the battery department, this phone sports a massive 5000 mAh battery, supports fast charging, and also comes with an 18 watts power adapter inside the box at just a starting price of 10,000 rupees. And that's definitely a killer deal. Battery life on this phone is obviously pretty great. For a normal user, it can easily last you for 2 days, and even if you're a heavy user, it can easily last you for an entire day. For me, I really didn't play any major games, so I easily got about 6 to 7 hours of screen on time without any issues. So guys, to conclude, Micromax in 1 is definitely one of the best phones that you can get in this price segment. Especially at a base price of 10,000 rupees, we are getting a lot of stuff that other brands usually don't offer. So if you're looking for a well-balanced phone at 10,000 rupees, you can definitely consider this phone. So guys, what do you think about this phone? Do let me know by commenting below this video, and if you're planning to buy this phone, use the link in the description. It always helps the channel. Now with that said, this is Nikhil signing off. See you in my next video.